Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein with you. Here's what's coming up on Dallas Mavericks today. Tim Hardaway Jr., is he set to get traded this offseason? Plus, could the Mavs go and trade for Zion Williamson? A lot of new rumors from a report from Chris Haynes on that one. And is Javale McGee officially out the door? All of that and more is coming up here on Dallas Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Let's get started with THJ, the latest on Tim Hardaway Jr. Marc Stein reports that the Mavericks are still exploring a trade for him, that they would like to ship him out this offseason. And Tim Hardaway this past year, the overall splits don't look great, but he kind of stunk the first month and a half, 2 months of the year, Coop, and he really picked it up after that. So I think it was after the month of November, he shot over 40% from three the rest of the season.
And the same happened with Reggie Bullock as well, where they both started out just ice cold. And that's just kind of my whole point with Tim Hardaway. I just think he's too streaky of a shooter for the Mavericks to be able to continue to rely on him. And that's kind of why they brought in Seth Curry, because they know Seth Curry is going to be a consistent shooter and is going to knock down 40% from three. And while Hardaway still was a great servant to the Mavericks, I think his time has kind of run its course, especially after the injury. He just hasn't been the same guy.
Yeah, and look, I think Tim in a bucket is probably a better overall player than Seth Curry, even post-injury.
I'd agree.
But for $17 million per year versus $4.5, it's like the difference isn't that wide. And to your point, Seth is a much better just catch-and-shoot sniper from three. And post-injury, Tim doesn't get to the bucket much anymore. He's not really much of a slasher. He kind of just turned into a catch-and-shoot guy.
He's a catch-and-shoot guy, and that's what Seth Curry does best. And I think they're kind of just going to replace his minutes with Seth Curry and Jaden Hardy combining for those.
Yeah, I think that's very realistic. Now you look at, okay, how likely is it to trade Tim Hardaway? Well, 2 years, $36 million. So that's a tradable contract, Coop. I mean, he's still a guy who can average 15 points per game. He can shoot high 30s from three. Again, he's not going to create slash a ton, but he's not a total stiff in that regard. Like, he can handle the ball a little bit and, get out in transition and stuff like that. What teams will like about this contract as well is that it's an ascending contract. So he's making more, or he's making more this year than he will the next year. Yeah, and that's not a contract that's going to handicap you.
No, definitely not.
Because unlike Adavis Bertans, he's a rotation player still. He can start, he can come off the bench, he can play the two or the three. The question is, what is he by himself worth? Like, if you only traded Tim Hardaway, would you get a first for him, protected first, a couple seconds?
I don't think you're getting a first for him.
Yeah, I think you'd get maybe 2 2s or 1 2, and then you go from there. So realistically, if you're trying to upgrade, I think you have to throw him in there with that 2027 first-round pick to get something in return to upgrade either at the wing or that big spot. So would you trade Tim Hardaway Jr.? Type T for trade, or you can type P for pass. Coop, if you can upgrade the roster with a higher caliber wing that defends a little more, or a center that's better than Rashawn Holmes, I think you absolutely have to do it.
Yeah, I think you do, and I think it'd be mutually beneficial for both parties. I don't think the Mavs really need Tim Hardaway Jr. anymore with the addition of Seth Curry and hopefully the development of Jaden Hardy, and I think it would benefit Hardaway as well to have a new change of scenery. So I'm definitely going to type my T for trade, but I would also like to find the right deal for him if possible, and I don't think it would be the end of the world if they kept him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the good news is, worst case, you keep him, he can start or come off the bench, and again, give you 13 to 15 points on hopefully 38, 39% from three. So we'll see what happens. T for trade or P for pass. Coop and I want you to help us out by subscribing to Mavericks Today. I want to get to 25,000 subscribers before the end of July. Can we get there? We're less than 800 subs away. Your guys' support the past month and a half has been awesome. Coop and I have really enjoyed seeing all your comments, seeing the new subscribers. We're enjoying doing these live shows. If you want that to continue, we need to continue to grow here.
Hit that sub button.
Hit that sub button. Share it with a friend. If you're a true MFFL, subscribe today. Let's get to 25K. Okay, Zion Williamson. Is he on the trade market? Chris Haynes says that Zion could be had for the right price. Here's what the Bleacher Report TNT insider had to say on Zion. He said, over the last 3-4 months, talking to league executives around the association, it was made clear that Zion could be made available for the right situation and the right package. Not saying he was clearly available, but Zion can be had. And look, Coop, it's been a dramatic tenure in the NBA.
It's been crazy
Zion,
for him so far,
to say the least. I mean, obviously the injuries have been a major problem. When he has played and been healthy, you could argue he's been a top 15 player in this league because he scores about 25 a game very efficiently. But there's commitment to the body. There's Mariah Mills drama off the court. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on with Zion Williamson, and he's on a massive contract right now.
If he's great, man. I mean, if he's averaging 27 points and 7 rebounds, I love the guy, and I think he's one of the best players in the NBA. The problem is he's not available enough.
Yeah, I mean, you guys see the missed games there, and the commitment that you would have to make to trade for Zion. I mean, it's a big one. I mean, I think there's a worry in the back of people's mind is like, are you getting Ben Simmons? Like, I think healthy Zion is much better than Ben Simmons, but can you rely on him to be available? Is he a leader on a basketball team? I don't love his body language. I mean, you hear all kinds of stories like, he's not committed to doing this, he's not committed to doing that.
That's definitely a problem. I mean, he needs to be committed to the cause if someone's going to trade the whole farm for him.
And Fansided threw out a trade idea where Zion
this is crazy.
Came to Dallas. I mean, this is wild for a lot of reasons, but we wanted to break this down. Zion and Larry Nance, the Mavs. You get a rotation center, okay. Obviously Zion. Damian Lillard, Javale McGee to New Orleans, which Dame back with CJ because that worked so well the first time around. And then the Blazers get Dyson Daniels, Tim Hardaway Jr., Rashawn Holmes, Derek Lively, 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. I mean, look, I'd do it, Coop. I mean, I'd take the chance because who are you?
I would do it.
I would do it still.
The problem is
Lively's the only piece here where I'm just like, but Lively's never going to be elite offense.
Exactly.
He's never going to.
I would
take the chance.
The Pelicans are not reuniting Dame and CJ, man.
No.
It's just not happening.
No.
If I'm the Mavericks, though, I would do this in a heartbeat, and hopefully it gets done with the league offense before they can nix it like they did Chris Paul. So this would be awesome. Obviously, Zion on the Mavs would be great. I just don't see it happening, especially, their interdivision rivals as well. I'm not sure the Pelicans are even wanting to give up on Zion yet. If they do, I think it would have to be for a package better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think mid-30s Dame is like who you dump Zion for. Like,
yeah, no way.
But I also think it's unclear what Zion's worth. I mean,
no one really knows.
Drama, it's the injuries.
We have to see Zion play first to know what he's worth. I mean, no one knows just because he hasn't played.
I mean, can he give you 65 games in a season? He really hasn't proven to be able to do that.
That would be great.
So, I mean, it's kind of like the Porzingis thing all over again, although he's been healthier than Zion as of late. Grade the trade for the Mavericks here, A, B, C, D, or F. I think for Dallas, it's pretty good. You get Zion and, a lower-level rotation center in Larry Nance, but you need more front court help, especially if you're going to trade Rashawn Holmes and Derek Lively here. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the trade for the Mavericks to get Zion Williamson in Dallas. Luka Doncic jerseys are on sale for a limited time only. Go check these out at chatsports.com/Luka jersey. You got the Royals, you got the whites, you got the green kind of custom whatever throwbacks you want to call these. Those new city editions they wore last year, those are in there as well. You got the navies, all kinds of jerseys available for Luka at a discount. I think they're up to 30% off today. Chatsports.com/Luka jersey. That link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Coop, is it time to pour one out for JaVale McGee and Theo Pinson? Marc Stein says it is.
Pour one out for them. There's just no room for them on the roster anymore, according to Marc Stein. The Mavericks have likely moved on from Theo Pinson, and they would love to move on from JaVale McGee via trade, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen, so it more than likely will end up in JaVale getting stretch waived.
I wonder if the Mavs, instead of freeing up that 15th spot, because right now they have an extra spot anyway. They have 14, including JaVale right now. If there's no one they love, because Stein reported himself that there's no one on the mid-level that they like. So Kelly Oubre doesn't sound like
they might just not use it.
I mean, do you just hang on to JaVale even if he doesn't maybe you mutually agree you don't need to show up, you're going to keep your paycheck's going to keep clearing, but maybe it's some salary matcher at the trade deadline. Because my point is if you're not going to fill that spot, then what's the point of stretch waiving him and having him part of your books next year too?
I mean, I guess for additional roster flexibility, but you don't really.
You could
need
do that
it.
later.
Exactly.
Like, you could
can
do
always
that
do it
2
later.
months into the season.
So if they don't find someone to take that spot, I agree that they don't. There's no real pressing need to waive him. And as far as Theo Pinson goes, obviously he was a great culture guy. Everybody loves Theo Pinson in the Mavericks organization.
He's not an NBA player.
He's not an NBA player. He is there because he's a vibes guy, which some teams need. But at this point in time, I think the Mavericks just need more overall talent.
And look, there was clear value on that on the team 2 years ago that made the conference finals. I think the bench mob thing was an impactful thing.
They made Theo Pinson rules in the NBA as far as bench decorum goes.
He changed the league. Should he go into the Hall of Fame?
People are talking.
But look, he obviously last year, the team wasn't good.
Got a triple-double in his last game, though.
Hey, if you're going to tank, you might as well tank with the
Guys
Theo
who
Pinson
got triple-doubles in their last game with their franchise, Dennis Smith Jr., Theo Pinson.
2 Mavs legends.
We love it.
And then look, JaVale was a failure.
We know that.
Let's be honest. So you gotta take the L sometimes, and giving him that contract, there's just simply no doubt that was a failure to say the least. So no JaVale McGee in the future plans for the Dallas Mavericks. Question is what's next? It's been a few days since the Mavs have done something. Really, Coop, the last thing they attempted to do, and by the way, which was sign Thibault to an offer sheet, on this show, we gave Joe Cronin a round of applause for quickly deciding that they would match Portland. That was not the case. They waited until the deadline, so fuck Portland for that.
We're out on them.
And, the question is, where do you go from here, Coop? It doesn't sound like Kelly Oubre's in their plans.
I don't think Oubre's in the plans. I think trading for a center is probably the next one, right?
Or a wing, maybe.
That's got to be
a wing now.
That's got to be what's next in the plans. We'll see. I mean, it's kind of slim pickings out there on the market right now.
Yeah, free agency's pretty thin. I think the trade market. I wonder, Coop, if what's one of these big trades happens around the league, is that going to lead to a flurry of trades? I think if Dame gets
a domino has to fall, yes.
Yeah, something's got to happen. And the latest is that Siakam could be the first guy traded.
Well, and the Trailblazers GM Joe Cronin was also saying the Dame trade could take months. It could go into October.
Donovan Mitchell 2.0.
Here we go.
Buckle up. What's the next move the Mavs should make this offseason? Let Coop and I know down in the comment section below.